Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Good afternoon. Joining us on the line now is Michele del Campo, an award-winning artist born and raised in Italy. Since he was 18, he's been on the move and currently lives in Madrid. His book, Pandemic Stories, started as a sketchbook that became more of a journal. He interviewed and sketched people from many different countries through video conference calls, and when travelling was permitted, he was able to do it face-to-face. Eventually, he wrote each of their stories and is sharing them in this book. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Hi, Anna. Very nice to be with you. Thank you.
It's great to have you with us. And what a lovely idea for a book. I understand that you were alone in a new art studio in the centre of Madrid when quarantine was imposed.
Yes.
What was that like?
Yes, in fact, I had been traveling a lot before. I was in the United States, in California, I was in Florida, then I was in Peru. I was traveling so much, and then I found myself in Madrid, which is more or less my city, but I didn't have a place to stay in that moment. I didn't have I was not thinking about staying more. In fact, I was going to Italy, and Italy was already in plain virus, in plain alert. So a friend of mine gave me a studio in the center of Madrid. It was empty. I had no fridge. I had no Wi-Fi, no facilities. I just had a suitcase, a sketchbook, and my some clothes. So I started to communicate with my phone, with my hotspot, doing video conferences with friends and family. And then I thought maybe, and I was also sketching them. I was portraying them while we were talking. And I thought that maybe I could escape the negativity and the darkness of the moment and offer a window into into a new experience to people who followed me in social media. So I invited them to join me in a video call. Each one will take from 1 hour to 3, even 4 hours. It was just a matter of having a conversation, getting to know them. And eventually through that information that I got, I had to elaborate a portrait, which I did it on the moment. It was not from a photo, it was from a real interaction. It was very, very nice, very beautiful experience.
Yeah. And what kind of information did you get from people? Because they were turned into kind of interviews, and you obviously, there were people that you knew, but people that you didn't know as well.
Exactly. I wanted to know what they were doing in life, and especially because I am uprooted, I feel like I'm always on the move. I wanted to know where people come from, where do they live, how do they did they get there, as geographical place, but also how their life developed, and how the pandemic affected them, in which moment of their career, in their family moment in their life. How it affected them and how they were spending their days.
You must have got some really
interesting plans for the future.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, can you give us some examples of some of the stories people told you or situations people were in?
Yeah, well, there were extreme situations like people stranded in other countries and they could not return to their original country. Maybe they were backpackers. There was a girl who was going to be in Italy for a scholarship, and she was from California. And with that money, because eventually she understood that the pandemic was going to last for a long time, she just bought a car, she put a bed in it, and she started to go around national parks in the United States, just feeling the solitude, feeling the the closeness to nature and sketching because she's an artist. And so she learned to live with very little. Then there were other people that were in the middle of a process of change. For example, Arthur from Brazil, he was never able to tell his father that he wanted to change sex because he always felt like he was a girl, but she was she was a girl, but she felt like a boy. So the father died just a few days before I interviewed him. And the day before, he was lighting a candle and telling his father that he changed, and his father accepted him. So he was in a process of a complete restructure of his life. And then there were couples that were separated because he was living in New York and it was a very dangerous area. And his wife, this was Benji and Nuki, his wife was in Georgia. And for 1 year, he couldn't see his wife and his son that was newborn when he went to Georgia. And eventually, when he was listening to them every day through video conference, he cut his beard to adhere the mask during the flight. And when he went to Georgia after 1 year, his son could not recognize him, and he remained astonished because he could recognize the voice but not the person. And then he started to run around him doing strange noises until he grabbed him and he hugged him. And there was a moment that everybody was crying. It was finally this tension was over. So there were many people going through many changes, and it's not all negative. Some of them were changes that showed them that the world could be better in the future for them.
Yeah, it was a really fascinating time, wasn't it? I remember talking to people at the time, knowing and realizing that this will be a moment in history that children will learn about in class in many years to come. And it felt like a very bizarre thing that we were going through. And it was really interesting to see how different people dealt with it. Some people sat around watching telly, eating and drinking, thinking, yay, I don't need to be at work. I can just do nothing kind of thing, and really enjoyed and embraced that. Other people really got into fitness, and if they couldn't leave the house, were doing a lot in the house and, really wanted to get really fit. Other people wrote books like yourself and produced art and got really creative. And it was really interesting.
It was people suddenly opened up to new possibilities. This was completely unexpected, so they had to restructure their days, their family time, and some of them were in a big crisis because I also interviewed somebody who attempted suicide. Oh. And now, after opening up to me, this guy in Madrid who was suicidal, and now he's giving talks about to help from the humor to help people, young people, and everybody who has these thoughts in their mind. So it was a very delicate period for somebody, but for others, opened up possibilities to change, to give the change that they had been waiting to do and never never took a step.
I think it made a lot of people think about what and who mattered in their lives as well. The idea that we weren't able to see our friends and family, I think made a lot of people realize how much they appreciated and needed and wanted to be around their friends and family because they weren't able to. Or maybe it had the opposite effect. It made people realize that they didn't. There was always the worry of people who were in domestic violence situations and not being able to escape from their partners, and how awful that must have been. So it was really interesting to imagine all the different scenarios.
Yes. And it was also a period where people opened up completely because they had so much time and they hardly got a chance to speak with their neighbors, with other people, especially in big cities, because people who lived in countryside or in isolated area like Alaska. I had interviewed a guy that he never met anybody around his house. So he had he was, and everybody lived like that in his area. But other people really felt the need to communicate and to share their stories. So my task was just listening and prompting them to just think and say what they felt, and reporting it. Writing in my words those stories, and people were really grateful that I was listening. And that I felt that their stories matter, and and then I portrayed them, and they saw me the portrait eventually, and they recognized themselves, and some of them cried, or some of them were so thankful that they did something for me in exchange. Like they recited poetry, so they sang for me. They played some instrument. It was a period where I could feel closer to people, and and
that's
I could
really
do something
lovely
for them.
That's really special. And I think it did bring a lot of people together in certain ways. I know a lot of people did quizzes and things like that online, video conference with family and friends, and that became a regular thing. And I think a lot of people spoke to their friends and family a lot more because they couldn't see them. People were spending a lot more time talking to each other on the phone and on video conference because people had more time. We're all so busy normally, but without a lot of people going to work, there was a lot more time to be able to interact with the ones that you love, which was so special.
Yes. And there were examples of a couple who were in Hawaii working in tourism. And suddenly Hawaii was empty. The island was completely a paradise for them. And they had been looking for searching for a baby to get pregnant for 7 years. And suddenly they have the baby in the middle of the pandemic, and they could devote their time every day to the child. It felt so special because they were slavishly spending their time around the clock for the hotel management. So it was a chance for many people to spend a lot of time with their family, or to reconnect with the people far away, but also to see that some people abandoned them in the moment that they felt they were very lonely. Some of them felt like they were even more isolated than before because the people that they thought they were friends, then they disappear. But it was a dynamic, very strange, because everybody was dealing with the problems and with sadness and with sometimes depression. Or it's not that people abandon their friends, just that they were going through difficulties as well. So it certainly allowed us a pause and to think and to reflect on life and on people around us.
It must have made a huge difference as well with people's living arrangements. You said about the guy in Alaska, and, you know, people that lived in remote places may not have seen that many changes. But for people that lived in apartments in cities, I knew someone that lives in Madrid in an apartment with his wife and had 3 children under the age of 10 and had no terrace, no swimming pool, and was just trapped in this little apartment with 3 young children. And I just remember seeing his social media posts of him going, help!
People, you know, architecture changed after that. They started to introduce amenities and things like balconies and things that before they were not essential. And people restructured their home every day, moving things from one place to another because they needed to do sport, but they needed to do art as well, and they needed to work, and they needed to sleep. So if they were living in a very small apartment, they were moving things around all the time, and that became a routine and a problem sometimes. It was a very interesting period.
Definitely. Well, if people want to get a copy of your book, Pandemic Stories, it's available on our website, tre.radio, and it's by Michele del Campo, who we've been chatting with today. Michele, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anna, for having me.
Talk Radio Europe.
Your voice in Spain.